What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Sit back, relax. We got a pretty good show here. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. Welcome to everybody in the room. Thanks you for joining us on another Blade Talk. Now, we've been really presenting some amazing knife makers on this show. We'd be doing the industry an injustice if we didn't showcase another great icon of an American knife maker, and that's Tops Knives. So we're really glad to have Leo and Craig on. Actually, that was a surprise. I didn't realize he was going to be on too, so that's definitely a pleasant surprise. So but before we get them into the room and start the show and celebrate Tops and all they stand for and all the amazing products that you love, each and every one of you out there, guys, on Blade Talk with Scab and Joe, my name is Joe from JS Bladecraft, and obviously we have Scab from Quiet Boys Outdoors. On our corresponding channels, we support and have appreciation for our active military and especially our veterans. Hashtag 22 day no more. Anything over zero is too much. Simply means, guys, vets, active military, you have a place here always in our entire knife and sword community. But without further ado, let's bring Leo and Craig into the room from Tops Knives, and very happy to have them. Welcome, guys. Thank you for joining us on Blade Talk.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Man, thank you for that intro, too. That's awesome.
Without a doubt. And let's get Scab into the room as well, and let's get the show going.
Hey, guys.
Hey, how's it going? What's up?
I like the way we always do this, how we act like we hadn't talked before the show and everything's spontaneous. That's always good. Always a good
stage presence,
Man, been excited. I'm glad you guys are here, and thank you for joining us, especially now that I'm dipping out on you. Thank you guys for being here. Leo, if you would do me a favor, we kind of like to open this. Give me like a couple minutes background on Tops.
So absolutely. So
from the start, and it doesn't have to be every detail, but give me just a quick update on it. How you got there?
So quick update, because it can go on for days, especially when we start talking about it. I just keep bringing up memories. But yeah, so Tops Knives started in '98. It was started by Mike Fuller, Special Forces, Green Beret, 5th Group. He started in '98. He wanted to make a tool that could be taken out into the field, especially military. I love what you guys said about military. We're a big supporter of military ourselves. But he wanted to make a tool that they could take out, and it wasn't gonna fail on them, And so with his personal background in military, he had blade that failed on him, and so that was his main focus, was to make something that wasn't gonna fail. And so that's how Top started. We started making the Steel Eagle 107D. It's a tanto point blade. He was always real squared, real, tanto point, and that was a military blade for him. And so, by that being said, I started 6 months after Mike opened the doors. We started in a little garage, and I was the bathroom cleaner. The bathroom we used, there was a neighbor that would let us use. They would let us use their bathroom out of the garage, but we couldn't. When you're working with knives, and anybody in the knife world, you're covered in black dust. And so when you go into the bathroom and, everything stays there in the bathroom. And so she's like, you could use that bathroom as long as you guys keep it clean. It's not going to be filthy like you guys leave it. And so my older brother used to work for Mike before I did. And so he's the one that told Mike, he's like, Mike, let's get my little brother. His high school is right down the street. After school, he can come and clean. So pretty much they hired me on part-time. And so Mike's like, okay, so I'd go probably work for like 3-4 hours, whatever it was. But my job was just to keep the bathroom clean. That was it. Like, Mike didn't want to touching machine because I was young and I knew I was going to get hurt. So pretty much that's how we started. I was keeping clean. And then I would Justin was my manager. He was the one that started with Mike. And so Justin, I would tell him, I'm like, hey, Justin, tell Mike to give me more hours. and I want to work longer because 2 hours I ain't getting nothing. And he's like, well, what do you know? I'm like, I know how to use a bandsaw. I'm like, let me cut all the handles. Before we would make the handles, they would get water jet cut the handles, and then we would glue them onto the liner material that we use, and we would glue them on, and then it was like a puzzle how we try to get as many as we can on the 12 by 12 square, and then we go through once they're dry, we go through with the bandsaw and cut them all out. I'm like, let me use the bandsaw. I'm like, I'll help you guys do that. So Mike could give me more hours. And Mike's like, nope, like you're not gonna cut a finger off of my dime, and so, and I would keep, going. So it took me a bit, but then he's like, all right, the first cut, you're done. You're not touching another machine in my shop, and again, it was tiny. It was like a 12 by 15 square garage. Like that was our shop, and so yeah, that's what and then from there is just learning how to like do, and then we would get the blades profiled as well. We would get those water jet, and then when you water jet 1095, it's rusted. So everything would just get stacked up and everything was rusted. So we'd have to go through and clean the flats. That's what we call them. Clean all the surfaces off and then clean the edges around them. And so that was my next job, because they were giving me stuff they didn't want to do, and which is perfect. I learned how to do everything there was to do on tops because of jobs they didn't want to do. And pretty much, went up, learned a little bit of everything. The way we fit our sheaths, the way we do serrations, Rocky Mountain tread, I came up with that because just on our sheaths, for example, on our sheaths, we had another guy making them, but we were in a different building. So anytime they didn't fit, I'd have to drive, about 1.5 miles, 2 miles, get them fit, drive back and put it, make sure it worked. And that was happening every day. And I told Mike, give me a heat gun. I can fit that. I know I can fit it. And he'd be, all right, you ruined the shoes, come out of your paycheck. Done. I'm like, okay. I just wanted to avoid the driving back and forth all day. But little things like that, I'm like, I can do that. And 24 years later, I'm running the show, I guess.
So
I guess he says.
Yeah.
You learn from the ground up. There's no better way to learn.
No, absolutely.
When did you get into designing knives?
So designing, I could say that happened in the early 2000s. 2000 California Color. How old is that?
I don't actually know.
Yeah,
would that have been before or after the tracker?
No, it was after the tracker.
So probably like 05.
Yeah, 05, 06. But again, same thing again, with the designing. Mike was, like I said, he was real square, real, that's his style. That's
everything was straight lines.
All he thought about, he's going to put it through a door. He's going to jam it into a door and open, so so he wanted something heavy duty. And when I started designing, I started doing more flow. I had more flow, but at that time, I did these little Salt Lake City shows with Mike. I think I did 1 or 2. And so by talking to the client, the people that bought our knives and used our knives, they would ask, like, are you guys going to come up with a Bowie type, something, and so I would just get my, and I'd bring him up to Mike, and I'm like, Mike, what if we do something like this? Mike, like, no, that's not tops, that's not. They go, you're gonna see a military guy with the, pussy knife on his chest. That's what he would, it was Mike, and so no, and then there was and this is how that Blue Water. There's a knife we call the Blue Water. I pretty much based it off of I used a Baghdad bullet. A Baghdad bullet, when they cut it out, they ruined the top of it off. And so I'm like, what Mike would do, he would do a one-off, take it to the show and sell it. Now those are gold.
Yeah.
When you do that with the knife, those are one of a kind. And so Mike's like, what do you, I'm like, can I buy that from you? Like, I can make a design out of that. He's like, what can you do with it? And so I took it to the grinder, and I made the Blue Water. I made a little flow to it. I fixed the top, and he's like, let me take that. If we can sell that at the show, he's like, I'll give you $50. Done. And so we finished it. He took it to the show. He sold it.
There you go.
That's it. Yep. And if you guys see the Baghdad bullet, same thing. I did a little flow in the top, That's where it came from. Yep. And so Mike sold it. He sold it right away, and then he's like, "Remember that knife?" And he's the one that named it Blue Water. I don't know. I don't remember where it came from, but he named it. He's like, "Remember how you did that?" I'm like, I don't. He's like, "Well, we need to do more." He's like, "Let's put that in the line." That's how I started designing, and then he was more like he would hear me out more on design ideas that I had and what I wanted to, like what I would. I'm like, there's a younger generation. Like, it's not all about blocky military knives. I'm like, there's a younger generation that will, I think we can sell to as well. And so that's where I guess I got more into designing. I think the next one was the California Cobra. Yeah, that was my next design. And then from there on out, I just kept helping Mike with the designing on everything we do.
At some point, he had you just designing, right?
Yeah, so I want to say 15 years ago, probably. It got to a point that Mike said, just like, I was young and I was dumb and I was fighting and and Mike he's the only one that probably went to visit me in jail because of fighting. And he told me, like, you need to take care of your hands. If you don't sharpen another knife or grind another knife, I need you to be able to just draw. And so he would take care of my hands because he's like, once you can't draw, you ain't gonna do nothing with us. Yeah.
Oh man.
So
yeah.
I one of my big, I don't even want to say subscribers, dude that's helped me out a lot. His name's Keith Carpenter. Keith is a monster Tops fan. He said, I'm gonna send you a knife. He said, Leo designed it. He said, I don't want you to get any preconceived notions. I just want you to review it and tell me what you think. And it's this one.
Oh, the Thunder Trekker.
The Trekker.
Yep.
And I want you to tell me about it, because here's the deal. You can always tell who watches the videos and who don't, because I knew people that said, oh, that's a good chopper. It chops. But this knifes is good. I was as surprised with this knife. I love the design. I love the utilitarian use of it. Will you talk through this a little bit, because this has turned out to be one of my absolute favorites.
Yeah, that Thunder Trekker, that one came out 3 years ago.
I think more.
Yeah, I keep saying like 2-3 years. Like, I think it was, but then Craig was like, dude, I wasn't even here
before
yet.
COVID.
But yeah, yeah, for sure it was before COVID.
So that's 4 or 5 years.
Yeah,
probably.
4 or 5 years old. So that, I guess all knife styles have they have a time that they go and come. Like Bowie's. Bowie was that's the icon of knife, I think. And it fades away, and then it comes back strong. Like, people start designing more Bowies and more, and so that was when the kukris were starting to come back, and kukris were starting to be. And so I wanted to do like a tactical kukri chopper, and for us, Steel Eagles with the sawtooth on the back has been big, always big. And I started talking with Mike, and I'm like, I'm gonna design something that we can use as a chopper, but I don't want to just make just a regular kukri. I don't want. I'm like, I want to design something that is us, something that represents Tops and who we are. And so Mike, the first thing Mike said was like, sawteeth. Make sure it has sawteeth. And that's really how that design came alive.
Well, the thing about it is, and people are going to look at it and they're going to think, the thing with this is this: it doesn't feel like you think it feels if you've never held it. It really doesn't. It doesn't act like you think it should act if you've never held it. It really doesn't. And it's one of the knives that when you get it, you go, holy shit. I had to pare a lot out of the video because I found myself, honestly, just
gets his phone gets inactive.
Oh,
there we go.
Yeah.
Sorry, I found myself
like, should we all freeze?
wrapped up in using the damn thing. This is one of my favorites. If you don't have it, you should, because it chops well, but it also knifes incredibly well.
That's probably one of the knives that at shows, when people come to see us at a show, that's probably one of the knives that they want to put in their hand, because what you see on the screen and what they see there, they no comparison.
That's right.
The people think a big, heavy, bulky knife with teeth that are going to get in the way, but you hold that, and they're like, okay, I like that.
Well, that's why also when you see the knife work, like Scab is very good at basically testing his knives. I mean, that's his stilo. Like he'll demonstrate the knives more than showing them, and showing you, listen, this is how the knife works. This is what it could do. And that's how you really know the performance of the knife, because kind of by, like you said, by just seeing it on the website page, or whatever it is, you don't really, until you really see it in action and see what it's capable of, that's when you really know what the knife is about.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why when we do shows, we try to take, especially blades that we hear and get more comments, like on social media or emails or customer service, and people ask about. We'll try to take those to the show, so to put it in people's hands, to answer questions that are going to come up because of that,
Right.
And so, but that is one that people ask a lot of questions on.
It's deceiving. It looks like it's going to be heavier and clunkier, and then you get it and it's like, no, this is light,
balanced,
fast, and you want to use it and it's fun. Yeah.
Talk to us about some of the knives you brought out there.
So so these that we brought out, they're gonna, so Blade Show's coming up. Blade Show is gonna be the 2nd of June through the 4th.
Yep, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th.
And I guess since I started doing shows, I've never missed a Blade Show. And this one I'm gonna miss. One, because I'm gonna get surgery. Two, my daughter graduates
on the 2nd.
On the 2nd.
Oh wow!
And so I was trying to figure out how I could make it work. But having my hand in the sling and not being able, it's going to be tough to get out there. So Craig's going to have all the answers for these at the show. We're going to. This is a couple of many that he's taken of the new designs. This one, I don't know. I'm pretty sure people seen. We've made a big fuss about El Pionero, all our social media pages, and then how fast they sold, and they're still selling. But El Pionero, El Calderon, if you guys ain't familiar with him, check him out. He is a real deal on the stuff he does. We actually did a class with him 2 years ago, right? 2 years ago, his classes are amazing. So I'm glad we jumped on board with Ed. So tell him a little bit about that.
So Ed is this really unassuming guy from Mexico that lived a really crazy life, and now he's in the States. He's been on tons of podcasts. He's got a lot of interviews out there. If you don't know who we're talking about, look the guy up. Look at some of the content, and you'll see like why a knife that looks so simple is getting so much hype. The guy just knows how to use blades. He picks up the thing that drew me to him first is I started following him like when his page was pretty new. He must have been real fresh in the US, and everything that he posted was like really cryptic, and I didn't understand most of it, but I could tell that there was like stuff behind it. And so we started following him, and just more and more we were like, this guy, he's been through some stuff. Like he knows what he's doing. And then he ended up on Joe Rogan, and then all of a sudden there's knives with his name on it, and he's doing these classes and all this stuff. But the funniest thing is you think that this guy would have experience from like the top trainers throughout the world and the best of the best. And a lot of the shit that he learns, he gets from like bums on the street, street performers. Like he has all sorts of like smuggling tactics for like how to get a blade into a place where maybe you were not supposed to have a blade. And he learns how to do that kind of stuff from like hookers on the street that he just talks to, and homeless people. and
funny.
the like this divot on the knife that has a purpose that is like, first you can index the blade, you know where the blade is pointed at all times because you can feel that divot no matter how you're holding the knife. It doesn't matter, you can feel it. He learned that from his mom, not from some crazy technical guy, from his mom. Like when he was a child, like the first thing she would do when she would get a knife like this is rub it on a curb and just create this divot so that she could like yell at her kids while she was cutting fruit. And so, yeah, so that's kind of like when we finally got the chance to do a class with the guy, you know, we spent 3 days hanging out with him and doing the class. And then, you know, him and Leo obviously got along really well. And after talking a while, they're like, we should do a blade together. And that was pretty much it. As soon as he sent us a drawing, this compared to what he drew, pretty similar, but Leo topsified it like he does anything that's a design from outside, and like it's just taken off like crazy. But yeah, this guy, if you don't know who he is, look him up and you'll see what we're talking about.
Pretty cool, pretty solid dude. What he teaches too. If you guys have a chance to ever do one of his class, recommend. Absolutely.
Well, he's the one with that like a very, very sharp paring knife, right?
Yeah, yeah. So his first knives that he had with a bunch of different companies were like fruit knives. So it was like a little hawkbill fruit knife, basically.
But he could get wicked with it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's for salads.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, Mr. Emerson also, they did a folder.
Yeah, he did a folding version of that fruit knife.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's actually. Again, Keith sent me an article, and I've been reading a little bit on him. Was he a policeman?
Yeah,
he was.
Yeah, he was actually in medical school. Yeah, he was in medical school before he became a policeman. But then, so he's from Tijuana, so it's border town, right? And I believe that he was traveling back and forth to the U.S. and selling things to be able to make money to afford medical school, things like that. And then 9/11 happened. And yeah, that had an incredible impact on the U.S., but it also screwed everything up at the border. Like all of a sudden he couldn't get into the U.S. The economy in Mexico didn't do so well after that. And so he ended up having to do something else. So he has a little bit of background in like human anatomy and stuff like that it helps him with, you know, knives and some of the tools that he uses. But he ended up signing up to be a cop and he was just going to be a cop. You know, like a regular guy patrolling the streets and stuff. And then the drug war popped off, and all of a sudden he found himself on this task force that was like, okay, you're going to go hunt down the cartels, and here's what's going on. And so he spent...
They pretty much threw him in there without him, like, signing up for that.
Yeah, he spent like 15 years fighting the cartels. And probably one of the saddest things is when he got out, he immediately had to get to the U.S. Otherwise, he probably wouldn't be here. So that was a pretty crazy thing, but yeah, just the guy's story is wild. Even though he was a cop, he finds that his experiences more closely resemble combat veterans than other police officers that he runs into. So, yeah, pretty wild.
Being in a border town, that's a combat zone.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. At the time, Tijuana was one of the most violent places on earth.
Yeah, I mean that's straight combat, and they're hunting you down, and you're doing. So he's a fascinating guy, and if you guys haven't, the guys watching, if you haven't read or done anything, I highly suggest you do. And I love his design. I love the simplicity of it. I really do.
Yeah, they're simple, but again, so deadly.
Yeah,
in a weird way, I guess.
They are.
But just the backstory as far as where he gets his inspiration from, just everyday situations, everyday people. Like some people come in like, oh yeah, this particular designer that inspired me, or this type of tactical knife I kind of emulated. Like you're talking about just taking an everyday people, everyday situations, and coming with an inspiration. And that's pretty fascinating. And I love the backstory on him. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, and go ahead. Sorry. I'm saying just his little stories on how he used and why he uses the blades he uses. That in itself, out of the class, is it's just amazing. The class itself it's awesome. But just his stories themselves are.
His mom had a huge impact on his life, like that fruit knife that's kind of that was the first thing he was really known for. He has this story where there were these guys messing with her kids, and she walked up to one of them holding that fruit knife in her hand and poked the tip into his chest and was like, back off, like what are you doing here? And just a little tiny drop of blood coming off the guy's chest, and it was, she didn't stab him, it was just a little poke, like, hey, I'm serious, back away from my kids. And the guy just left. Like he was like scared, like he thought he was like she was gonna just end him. And so that's why that fruit knife always kind of stood out to him. And she used to like roll it up into her clothing, and so she basically had this concealed knife that was super easy to access whenever she needed to, but it was also just a fruit knife. So anybody that was like, why are you carrying that? She's like, well, I've got to cut this apple. So like it's
right.
A lot of his stories are like that. It's crazy. Like the stuff that he comes up with just comes from the most random, normal, everyday things.
That's interesting. That's funny.
That's awesome. Guys, tell me a little bit about your favorite knives.
Hey, you know what? That's tough because it changes so much.
Well, you don't. I'm past the point. I don't ask anybody what's your favorite because y'all are probably like me, and there's no way to answer it. Give me a couple.
For me, it's tough because I design a lot of them.
For me, like maybe what are your favorite aspects of a knife? Let's go with your EDCs, because I freaking love your EDC carries. They're just perfect in terms of their size, their handles. Like what do you guys look for? Let's just start with EDCs, like everyday carries, fixed blades.
So everyday carry,
like favorite aspects,
like folders. I like. Right now, I carry a folder. Fixed blade, I tend to be dumb with, because I'll don't put it in the sheath, and I'll stab it into my car seat and stuff like that. Outside, I carry them all. I have them all. But on me, like, I always have a folder. You want to do a sneak peek?
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, you have a folder and a Leatherman on you usually, and then.
So this is a collab. I'm not going to show much about it, but this is a collab that we're working on, and it's a folder.
Yeah, I get you.
That we're doing.
He's like, hold on a sec.
But this is something that's coming down the line. It's a collaboration between Tops and Fox Knives out of Italy. Awesome. This is the Tech Shriek fixed blade folder version of it. But that's coming down the line. We're figuring some things out. Making a little bit of changes, but that's coming. But
I like what I see so far, boys. That nice. I like that. I would even tell you to push it closer to the camera, but I don't want you to give anything away.
So I like the fixed blades that we have. If I can, I'm not gonna say if I can. I'm gonna make some in the folder version, and that's what I like to carry. Like Tech Shriek. The Tech Shriek 69, I'm going to touch that one just because that was, it's been a popular knife for us, but that's the one I based off this folder. But it's a hunting knife that I designed for my own hunting knife, and then we decided to put it in our line, and that's the one I decided to do a folder first, a big folder anyways of it. The bros folder, that was already in the works that we were trying to do something with. But that's one that I wanted to do with the Tech Shriek.
Yeah, that's one. That one's been a long time coming. Yeah. Once that goes out, I'll definitely have one of those. But I carry fixed blades for the most part. I like folders also. They're simple. You can throw them in your pocket. It folds up so it's half the size when it's closed. That's cool. That's great. But I just like fixed blades, and so my usual carry is either one of our mini Scandi knives. One of the pokers, which that was one of my designs, and then actually I'm carrying the Pionero right now. Like that's my favorite way.
The clip off yours?
My favorite way is to just take the clip off and throw it in my pocket.
That's what I do.
Yep,
that's exactly what I do.
I'm gonna try to do that. I've never done that.
Yeah,
I do that daily, and I actually do it with the Silent Hero 4.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
You guys had sent that one to me to review. And I just put them in my pocket because at work I sandblast and powder coat. A folder's not going to hold up. So the pocket fixed blade for me is awesome. I love it. But talking about your collaboration with Fox, I think I'm carrying your last one.
Oh, nice.
Oh, the Thunderhawk.
That I
Is it
really,
a Magnum?
yeah,
It's a
this is
Magnum.
the
It's a
Magnum.
Magnum.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
Magnum.
Took the coating off, but this is one that I love. It's a heavy duty. It's a big one, and it fits good. But this, I'll carry this one, and like I said, that Silent Hero 4, I carry a lot. Just stick it, and I tell you what I do a lot of times: stick it in my back pocket. Just
Oh,
stick
okay.
it down in there and carry it, because you don't have to worry. You know, it's there, it's durable, and it holds up. Now, a folder out of that would be dope if you
Yeah, that's
decide
true.
to do
Yeah.
a Silent Hero 4 folder.
So the guy that designed that, he's from South Africa. He actually has
Right.
been talking to us a little bit about that, and we're definitely interested. We just haven't had a chance to work on it yet.
Yeah. I think he just emailed us like,
Yeah, a couple months ago,
yeah.
actually.
Now, you guys have designers all over the world. You do collabs all over the
We do.
world. What started that? What facilitated that?
That was more a Mike thing. Mike had a lot of friends in this industry, and
Yep.
and Mike always said, you know, we need to get our name out there. We need to collaborate with solid people. That was his main thing. You know, so we got people in the field like in military, bushcraft, law enforcement, just a little bit of, you know, that had a little bit of background. That's where
Yeah.
that started, and so back in the day, if you didn't have a background of something badass, you weren't going to get a Tops design with, you know. And so and that was, you know, that Mike was picky on who he brought on. And then once I started taking a little bit of charge of who comes on, if I have a pretty cool design that nothing like that out there, I'll bringing them on, and we're bringing on.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, we're bringing on. There was like the one that I remember, and I barely even heard about him, but I liked his design. Was that what's that? Argentina.
Oh, the Hornero.
Hornero.
Yeah.
I like that design, and he's like, oh, this guy, like, this is
Just a random guy from
random
Argentina.
guy from Argentina that sent us this. I'm like, I'm down. I like that. Let's do it. You know, there's other people that will take our knives and take this handle off of this one and put that on the blade of this one and call it their design and send it into us. That I don't like.
Those don't. Yeah, those don't reach us. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine that being a popular thing.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I'm gonna take
Yeah,
your
no.
shit, make it my shit, give it back to you for your
Yeah.
Hey,
And
do me a
then
favor, put me back up. Guys, talk to me about this knife.
No.
This is one of my all-time favorites, hands down. Absolutely adore it. Don't you die on me. Talk to me
No,
a little
this
bit
is
about this one. And here's the thing, I'll just be truthful with you. It just looks wicked. Just
Yep.
looks badass.
So that one's really interesting. It's in the beginning, it was called the Joint Spec Ops. It had a gray powder coat. It was more rounded around the edges. It wasn't quite as like, those lines are nice and sharp on that. On that one, it was a lot more. Everything was just kind of rounded. It was powder coated. Right. It had a white and black G10 handle. That white and black G10 handle, I swear only Canadians like white and black G10. Like nobody else likes it. But it was called the Joint Spec.
So
Ops.
you like it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. Yeah, my mom's Canadian, so I kind of like it. But yeah, so it was called the Joint Spec Ops originally, and it started with as like a collaboration with Kieslar in Russia. And so every now and then people will bring it up again, like, oh, you're copying them, or they'll tell them, oh, you're copying Tops. Neither one of us is copying the other.
And the reason we named it Joint Spec Op, it was going to be a
joint.
Yeah, it was going to be a collaboration. And then, but yeah,
so I don't know what happened, but the rep that Tops was dealing with for Kieslar was actually in Australia, and then something happened where I don't know, whatever rules or sanctions or whatever, it was not going to work out. And so both companies kind of went their own way and were like, we'll probably still make it. And they were like, we'll probably still make it. And then I think everybody's cool. Like Kieslar has never reached out to us and been like, hey, you can't do this.
Yeah.
And we would never do that to them either, because the one that they're making and the one that we're making are slightly different. So like, no, we have no problem with them. They have no problem with us. Everybody that is like, oh, well, you guys copied them or they copied you, we always tell them the same thing. Like, we're good. We're good with them. They're good with us. There's no issue.
Sure.
And so, anyway, the joint spec ops kind of faded out. It was popular for a while, and then it kind of faded out. And then
and we had a bunch of blanks, just blades that,
and we're unfinished.
And Mike's like, we need to do something different with this. And I started playing with the handle. I started, and that's how that Wild Pig Hunter came.
Yeah. Was that one? Was that the one you were developing the Black River wash on, or did you start that?
Tex Freak.
It was on the Tex Freak was first. Okay.
That's actually, I brought that one up for a reason. One, I love it, but two, every time I show the damn thing, somebody will bring it up, and it's not that they even bring up anything that you mentioned. You can tell that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But they usually accuse you of copying everybody from Saddam Hussein on down. So I thought I'm just gonna ask the damn.
Yep.
But I love the aggressive look of it.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just a badass knife. At the end of the day, and I live in the South. I know you can't tell. But there's a lot of boys that'll put that to use on a hog in a hurry.
Yep.
So I love that one. Talk to me more about if you carry a big knife, what do you carry? Like if you're going out hunting, Leo, what knife are you going to carry with
you? What did I do last year?
Last year was the Camp Creek Fire Edition, I think.
The Camp Creek Fire Edition. So I'll carry a mid-sized blade, like the Camp Creek Fire Edition.
That's about a 5-inch.
Yeah. So I had the Camp Creek, the normal Camp Creek. I designed that to be a hunting knife, and I carried that the first year we came out with it. But there was something that I didn't. I wanted more. The handle didn't fit just right for me, and so that's why I designed the Camp Creek Fire Edition. I revamped the handle. I made the blade a little bit longer. I mean the blade a little bit wider.
Mm-hmm.
Kept the same length on the blade.
The tip's a little less pointy.
Yep. But I made the Camp Creek Fire Edition.
That's the one. Yep.
That's it. Yep. And so I made it to fit my liking, I guess, and that's what I carry when I go out hunting.
You know what's funny is
that
I like the original.
Smoke a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I like it. And what's funny is Leo. So Leo's been carrying that one. I like the original Camp Creek better.
Do you?
Like that? Yeah, that one. I love that knife. It's great.
Now, why is that? And I was going to ask that question, but why is that? Why do you like the other one better?
So I like a little bit pointier tip. I like that the blade's a little bit narrower. I have smaller hands than Leo, obviously. And so the Camp Creek, the regular handle fits my hand great. They both do. That Camp Creek Fire Edition handle is amazing. But I also like the other one. I don't know. I for me, it's more that there's a little bit more of a point and it's a little bit narrower. But the handles on both are great for me.
That's kind of, Leo, that's kind of what, well, both of you, it's kind of what I was going to ask. You ever design a knife and you get out and you go, man, I like the knife,
but yeah.
A lot.
That happens a lot.
Back to the drawing board.
Yeah.
Guys, is there any truth to this? It says, talk to they wanted to us in a chat, this from Jimbo. Do you let your employees design knies? Do you allow you get designs from your employees? How does that work?
We do a challenge every year.
Oh, really?
Nice.
Yeah. Do you
So we do it. I started that about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
It's like 6 years ago.
Damn it, really? I keep thinking it's barely, but okay, 6 years ago we started. I've always said, when you go to a show, you get the feeling of who Tops really is. You get to hear feedback. You get to hear, this knife saved my life, or this knife I use it in overseas, or you get the stories that. To me personally, I come back and I'm like, all right, this is why I do what I do. This is why this stress that I get from whatever is worth it, because I know that these knives are getting used and they're helping somebody else. I guess I get that. So I've always said, I wish I could take every one of my employees. I have 67 employees. I wish I could take each one of them to a show to get the real feel of what Tops, not putting handles together, not making a sheath, not, fitting a sheath. That's what they see, and that's all they see every day. But they don't hear the, the outside world on tops.
Yeah, believe it or not, most people in Idaho Falls don't know who we are.
Yeah.
It's weird, but that's what it is. Yeah, it's really weird, but that's the truth. Like, I could walk around town with a logo on, and people be like, "Hey, what's that?" Like, they have no idea.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the employees think we're super small, and they don't realize, like, especially at a knife show, what the brand means to people. Like, they just don't get it until they see that.
Yeah.
No,
so going back to back to the employees. So I'm like, how could we do something with employees to make them feel a bigger part of what we do? So people, just something bigger. And so I came up with the idea. Once a year we'll come up with a theme. I could say, either a hatchet or a kitchen knife or a dive knife.
Or a EDC
or
knife. Whatever. Yeah.
And I'll give them a theme. We'll give them specs, from this size to this size. They don't have to worry about steel and handle material. We'll worry about that later. And then everybody submits a drawing. And then if it's a dive knife, we'll send the drawings out to,
divers.
To divers that, to get the
expert opinion.
The expert opinion. Yeah, there you go. The expert opinion on what we're going to do. And so they'll send, like, these are our 5 top picks, and then from there, we'll sort of we have a way we will number them. Like, we don't have names. We, like, the judges will never know the name on who's doing what. So they're like, oh, he likes him more, so he's gonna, his design is gonna go through. And so we'll number them, and then we'll make this chart, like, 1 through 5. And the one with the most,
we just do some kind of a point system on it, basically, and it's actually a little different every year.
Yeah. And then at the end, we'll finally say, okay, this design, and then we'll go and look at who did it, and what we do, we give them.
They get serial number 1, which is not a lot of people can say they have one of those.
Yeah.
They get like a bonus for winning the thing. And it's just a way to get people involved in the more than just I fit sheaths or I do this or I do that. It's a way to get them involved in the whole process of, okay, now we got to pick steel and handle materials, and we got to take it from a drawing to a knife. And the person that wins kind of gets to see all that process. Leo walks them through. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to change the handle because this will be a little more comfortable. We'll change the tip because there's a way you've drawn it. It won't quite work. And I mean, for the most part, the people that end up winning, like, they stick around. They're more involved. They care more about the company than just the little job that they do every day. And it's been a really cool thing to see people, like, just the way they change after their design gets picked. And then the other thing is that the rest of the employees, they're all cool about it too. Like, nobody's like, oh, all pissed off that they didn't win.
Right.
They're like, hey, congrats, and everybody's been really cool about it so far. So it's something we definitely want to keep doing.
I like it.
I like that a lot. That's great that you get that involvement. I mean, you kind of just feel like you make them feel like they're more part of it.
On our website and all our literature and all that, we'll make them one of our top designers.
Oh, that's cool.
So get their name out there too. So
that's cool. Really cool. So listen, we need to bring a Tops knife back. It was the first one I ever got.
Condor alert.
We should bring it back.
Yeah.
Because it's super dope, and I don't want to break mine and not get another one.
Yeah.
I don't blame you.
This was the first Tops I ever got. It's the Condor Alert.
Yep.
And it's one that I like big knives, if you can't tell. Dude, I absolutely adore. And again, it's that Tops, it's that aggressive. The other thing about Tops that I like a lot is your edges. I love your edges. I love the way they're done. To talk to me a little bit about your philosophy with edge bevels and things like that.
So I'll touch a little bit about it, and then Craig, he gets more into depth on that. But the edges, we keep them with in between a 25, 27 degree angle on the edges. Everything since I started with Mike, it was you're gonna chop, you're gonna put it through a lot.
Mhm.
So thin edges going, like when a big one was when we called it a modified Scandi, everybody was giving us heat.
Oh, everybody hated
There's
that.
no
at
such
first.
thing as a modified Scandi. And the reason we did that was, a Scandi, you go to 0, but you hit something, you're gonna chip it. I don't care how well your heat treat is and how the best, you're gonna chip it because it goes to 0 and it's super sharp.
There's no meat behind the edge.
But you're gonna chip it. And so we're like, we don't want to keep dealing with all these claims that, with all these people sending them back because they chipped it or because whatever. So we started doing a modified. So we go really sharp and then hit it. So secondary bevel, we call it. And so we did that, and now everybody
now
asks
it's super
for it.
common.
Yeah, now it's common.
Like a lot of companies that do Scandi grinds do they'll call it a Scandi Vex a lot of times or something else, but it's really a modified Scandi.
Modified Scandi. But yeah, when we started doing that was
Right.
a big thing. So it was they were meant to be used. They were meant to put them through whatever. You're not going to hurt it. You will bend it because we do a differential heat treat. You will put a bend in it, but you're gonna have a blade to keep going no matter what.
Right.
And so that's what was behind that.
Yeah, so everything, even a lot of the thinner knives still have like a 25-degree edge. Where depending on the use, other companies will make them thinner. Maybe they'll make them 20. Maybe they'll make them 22. We still tend to go like 25. Even this guy, that's 3/32
Yeah.
1095. That's like kitchen knife thin, and it's still a 25-degree edge.
I like how you stick to your guns and you stick to that bevel at 25, regardless of the knife. And yeah, that definitely will make it a really, tough edge.
The truth is, it can still be sharp at 25
Sure.
degrees.
Sure.
Oh, they are.
Sure it can.
They are.
I
They're
mean, it's
razor
hella
sharp.
sharp. That one right there is hella sharp. My Silent Hero, super sharp. So it can be done. And I thought, Leo, that I had heard you say that one time before. I've got a buddy of mine that's a big hunter in Arkansas, and I sent him my BOB. I thought he would like that, and he absolutely adores it. But the thing is, like all the knives that I've showed you, they're all sharp. And the 25, I'm heavy-handed, not on purpose. It's just, so I like the comfort of knowing the damn thing ain't gonna chip or break because I've hit something. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because here's the truth: skill set dictates everything.
Yep.
And I think a lot of times it's just a lot easier to blame the knife than the skill set. Nobody wants to do that. But,
yeah. Same thing with firearms.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's and I think until you understand that, you're going to keep damaging your shit and blaming everybody else. But the one that I kind of wanted to talk to you guys about a little bit. Now we won't tarry long because I do appreciate your time very much.
No, absolutely.
I just had a buddy, Donnie D-Bad, just sent me this Prather war buoy.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. See, this is the only tops knife that I was like, nah. But again, when I got it, I fell in love with the damn thing. And I don't know if it's seeing it on the website. You know what I'm saying? Because you see it on the website. There's something about seeing it on the website that doesn't match holding it in hand.
Yep.
And man, I love this damn thing. Now this was but Jeff Prather, obviously.
Yep.
I love that clip point. But the thing, guys, there's two things. One was the edge. The other thing was the handle. And I love your handles. Talk to me a little bit about your handle philosophy.
So on the handle, I don't know. That's something that I really pay attention to. Even when I design, that is probably the main thing that I'll go back and change to get it to the right feeling. I don't like to feel. Of course, we have over 300 models, over 400. I was just actually at the shop. And we have over 450 or 475 jigs that we have. But the handle is something that I don't like burnt spots. I don't like sharp edges. if you see in the industry, you feel one of our blades compared to a lot of them, you don't have that a lot of people will inset the handle, because they can't get it to the, perfect around the edge, whatever it is. That's something I really look at, that I want the handle. I don't want you to be able to feel the, and there's some that we can't avoid. We just can't, avoid
not every handle is going to fit every hand.
Yeah,
but the thing that we do pretty good at is making sure that the handle will fit most hands. Yeah. And so that comes from just the number of knives that he's designed. He's kind of got that dialed in. He can look at it and just be like, yep, that'll work. Every now and then we'll tweak some things, but the other thing is, say we're prototyping something, right? Like, for example, this one, this is not a new model necessarily, but when Leo designed this handle, I'll let him tell you. But after he runs a prototype, he'll be like, all right, put this in your hand, tell me what you think. Put this in your hand, tell me what you think. 5 or 10 employees, taller, shorter, fatter, skinnier, and just kind of have everybody like try it out and be like, here, what do you think? And based on what everybody says, he'll either make changes or be like, nope, it's good to go. But like this one in particular, the story behind that handle is pretty cool.
Yeah. So this is a wilderness guide, and we call this one Wilderness Guide 2023 because we just modified it this year. But the Wilderness Guide, when I first designed that, I don't remember when.
Probably 20 years ago.
But when I first designed that, the way this model came was Mike came up to me like, let's make a backpack knife, something that you can mount on the side of your backpack that you can access when you're out in the woods or when you're out hiking. And so I'm like, okay. And so we'll all design a backpack knife, we called it. And so I just made that in my notes, and then I was just doing Photoshop and working on the website. And when I used to take pictures of the knives, I had clay. I would buy these little bricks of clay because that would help me position the knife when I'm going to take a picture of it or whatever. And there was a brick of clay sitting on the desk, and I'm waiting for this thing to load, and I grabbed that brick of clay and I just squeezed it with my hand, see what I could do, and it formed that shape.
That's interesting.
It literally formed that shape, and then I'm like, okay. And so from there, I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, backpack knife, I'm gonna make it. And so
awesome.
I started designing I actually grabbed the clay, put it on the paper, and then I just started drawing the blade part of it. And the first one, we wanted it thin. So we had, I think, 3/16 handles on it. No, or 1/8" handle.
I think the handles are 1/8 inch.
Yeah, but they were thin handles, and that was one, like we said earlier, that like, I wish I would have done that different. I wish I would have, And so by years saying that, I'm like, I'm not going to discontinue that model. I'm going to do something else with that model. And that's where we come in with this one, 1/4" handle. I just beefed it up, just to make it look.
Yeah, everything's a little bit
something
thicker.
heavier duty. And then the sheath too. We had a nylon sheath. I hated that sheath. And again, I went with Kydex dangler. You it gets out of the way when you have a dangler. I like the dangler. That's why you start seeing more and more with these danglers. But yeah, this is a new one
this one we haven't shown yet. So
the handle's great, but I'm in love with that blade. How many millimeters thick is that spine? That looks like a nice spine to it too.
That one's 3/16. So what is that, like 4.5 or something? 4.5.
That's
four,
awesome.
4.5.
That's a beautiful blade.
Yeah. Now that I grab it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask you a question, Leo? It seems like to me that you have to basically approve of, let's just say a new design comes in and you have the prototype in your hands. You have to approve of it before it goes out. Like you have to feel it, say, you know what, this works. Like, do you have, like, does it have to come out of your hands in order before it goes into the market? You have to.
Correct. It does.
Approval.
It does, because I'm real. I don't know. This is my baby, I guess. And then I protect. I guess I got the style for Tops, like that what Tops is, and so I try to keep that same style. But yeah, so that's why when we get designs from people outside, I'll ask them, is it cool if I make little changes just to fit our style?
Right.
But yeah, so usually I'll touch a little bit or change a little bit, just to, like Craig said, to topsify it. I topsify it and then pretty much let it go.
Topsify.
Yeah,
I
Leo
like that.
Leo has he has this vision that most people don't have, and so he'll take a look at something and be like, okay, that'll work. I'm going to change this, this, and this, and then it's going to look like a tops. And so that's why a lot of the time when you see a knife that's a tops knife, even if it doesn't have a logo on it, you're like, that's probably a tops.
Yeah, we get a lot of calls. Like we've done collaboration with other companies, or we've done work for other companies, and they'll email us as soon as they release it. They're like, these guys are copying.
Yeah, these guys are copying you. Yeah, that's happened a bunch of times.
And then they'll get calls like, hey, you guys are copying tops, and then they'll call like, guys, like make it public, like
yeah, like tell them you
made this for us.
Yeah,
because we're not, we're gonna get heat on it. But yeah, so pretty much, yeah, I approve them, and then we put them into production or give whoever's gonna do them a go ahead.
That's great.
Yeah, but and I say this sincerely, when you start off cleaning the bathroom and you work your way all the way through, it means more. Nobody handed
absolutely.
it.
Yep.
You earned it. It has your name on it. So it matters. It matters a lot. And you can tell that. You can see that. You can see that through this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
I ran a cleaning company. I've cleaned bathrooms, so I have mad respect for that. It's a different deal. It really is.
It is, absolutely.
It's a heart of servitude, and you can see that in the knives and through this conversation. I'll tell you what, guys, I don't know how much time you delved out, and I don't want to take a ton of your time. I'm hoping
we're good. We're good.
Played,
Yep.
except Leo. Thanks, Leo. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I know that you don't have an idea how hard it is,
man.
I was telling my daughter, I'm like, can we try to talk to your principal, see if they can do it earlier? My daughter like, no, you're not talking to my principal.
I want to see, before we do anything else, I want to see the big one on the table.
Yep.
Yeah.
The knife. You're talking about the knife.
Yeah. I don't see anything
you
else.
bumped that cable. Here, just plug that back in.
Was this one?
Yeah.
We sort of messed up on the.
Here, let me pull this out of the way.
Nope.
Oh, you know what? Maybe the camera shut off. Hold on a sec.
Oh, okay. Sorry, we're having difficulties on our side too.
No problem.
Yeah.
Take your time.
Oh, you guys are good.
So what's the point? JR's in the room, Chuck and Steele, Rusty's in the room, Brandon Sutton, Dwayne. Thanks everybody for joining us. This is definitely a great show. Great to have Tops on, without a doubt.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people in the chat room are actually visiting the Top store right now and actually buying knives, from what I see, which is pretty cool. Yeah.
I can feel it here, but not there.
Every time, Joe, we were getting ready and I was running around trying to get my knives together. And when I sat down, I said, this is the first time I've got everything, and I'm sitting here counting in my head and I'm missing a couple. It's driving me crazy. But they've got so many. Tops has so many cool designs. They got something for that Brothers of Bushcraft, and I hope I'm saying that right, Bob. Dude, that line is just phenomenal.
What is it called? Brothers of Bushcraft?
Brothers of Bushcraft.
Let me see if I can look it up.
And
Brothers of Bushcraft. Brothers of Bushcraft. How many models do we have of that?
So we have we have like 15.
About 15 takes on that knife.
Yeah, 2 different steels, 3 or 4 different finishes, and then multiple different handles.
Correct.
Now,
but all the same size and shape.
Would that be a version of your modified Scandi?
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
That is the version of the modified.
Was that the first one you did that on? Was it the Bros?
Yes, it was the Bros.
Yeah.
So the Bros. No, that Brothers of Bushcraft. That was the first one that we did with that modified Scandi.
Yeah.
We tried to do the first ones with the Scandi grind, and it was just a pain. It was a pain because we were getting blades back that
they were sharp. They just didn't. That edge just didn't hold up like a normal edge. People expect to use our knives hard.
Oh, yeah.
They're not easy on our stuff, and so immediately they get
try
a
to
knife
prove a point with our blades.
Yeah, they just immediately just start beating on things, and so that true Scandi grind for us is probably just not, it's probably just not ideal because of the way the brand has been built.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gorgeous. Let's see that big one.
So this is a new one. I don't think nobody's seen this. Craig did a little video for Cinco de Mayo, I think.
Yeah.
Or
For May the 4th.
May the 4th.
Yeah.
And he showed this, and we started getting hit with comments about what is that, and tell us about it, and But this is a collaboration we did with Jason Johnson. Jason Johnson, the pro knife thrower. And this one, he finished it, and then sent it to us.
He made 3. And then I think all 3 of them he sent out to different people. 2 of them were just buddies of his or guys that were gonna like give him feedback. And then the one was for us as like, hey, let's do something together.
Yep.
And this compared to what he sent us is the size and shape almost exactly the same. The main difference is just that the kind of fit and finish is topsified.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a brand new one that you guys will get to hold and play with at Blade Show.
You'll have this at the show, okay? That's nice. Looking forward to seeing that one.
Speaking of handles, for example, the handle on this one, you can see on that the pommel of it tapers just a little bit.
Yeah.
That is the like knife thrower part of the design, right? So Jason Johnson, he'll throw anything. I don't think he's afraid to throw whatever. And so even a knife this size, he'll still throw it. And so it has that little bit of a taper, which is uncommon in a knife that large. But again, this guy, like his main thing is throwing knives. And so that's why that's part of it. But it's still got the contours that Tops normally does and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be, the plan is to make it 1095. It's 1/4 inch, right? That's 1/4 inch.
1/4 inch.
Yeah, crazy design. Definitely sharp. But yeah, this thing's gonna be really cool. We're excited.
Yeah, I still grab blades like I'm seeing them and I see when Craig's working on them and putting them through, but to get the chance to really hold them and like I don't get that, I guess, because I'm bouncing back and forth. But I grab it right now and I feel like you've held it a few times, but this is the first time you kind of like really started messing with it.
I actually love the handle. Looks like it's insanely like very conducive for chopping. Even though it tapers down, you can really grip it. I really like that.
Having this finger, you can just lock it in. So
that's you can lock your hand right in. That is amazing.
Yeah,
I like that a lot.
Yeah, this is another one that I can tell you it's going to be hard to keep in stock.
Yeah,
y'all got a lot that's hard to keep in stock. Your El Chetty.
Yeah. Still, oh man, we're still
El Chetty,
on that model.
and then going on big choppers. I know we sort of hit EDC and like a hunting knife, but going on big choppers, El Chetty is probably one of my top picks.
Yeah.
That blade is
fun. So much fun.
That blade, I designed it and made one with like in about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yep. And about
the drawing took you about 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal blade, man.
Yeah, I love it. That El Chetty is. Yeah, that's something else. That's when we go out, testing or whatever. I always take one of those with me. Yeah. And my side by side, I have one of those with me.
Well, honestly, that's a knife that I think when people say Tops, I think the El Chetty, I think that's right up there. I think that's what people think. I think I think the Operator 7 is another one. When people say Tops, that's what I got. I got one more, and I'll shut up because Joe's tired and old. But I wanted to get y'all's opinion on this one real quick. I just got this one in. It's the Mission Team 21.
Oh no, that was a Mike Fuller design. Mike designed that one,
and I am absolutely in love. I kind of at a point where you build partnerships and friendships in this game and all that, and people say, hey, do you want to try this or that? This is one I've been wanting to try for a long time.
Yeah, so we're looking over to the screen because the screen in front of us went black. So
yeah,
we're looking over to the side to see off on laptop. But but we are looking at the blade. So that mission Team 21, when Mike designed that and Mike came out with that, at that time, I was still in the shop. So much about the design, like why did he design it? I don't remember much about it, but I do remember that when he designed that, I think out of the first run, he sent one to President Bush, I think it was.
I think so, yeah.
To President Bush, he sent one, and
Really?
he got a letter. He got a letter back from him saying thank you for sending that knife, and
Really?
you know, yeah. We
That
actually
is-
have that letter.
Yeah.
Right? We actually have that letter
Along with a picture of the knife,
Yep,
yeah.
yep.
That's
This
dope.
is so this knife is there's a lot of knives that were made by Tops that are just great knives, but I mean, really the majority of the growth of Tops has probably been the last like 12, 13 years, probably.
I was gonna say the last 6, 7.
Yeah, well, I mean,
No,
yeah. So probably 10 to 12 years.
Yeah.
That's where Tops has seen like the most growth, and so a lot of knives that are older than that. There's some models out there that are just phenomenal, but they kind of fell under the radar because the social media wasn't really much of a thing,
Right,
and there were some launches that just didn't really reach people. And so like the Mission Team 21 is one of those that's like, that's just a great design, but a lot of people have never seen it. The green and black G10 handle is it's another handle that like some people like, but it's not flashy. And so not that many people kind of gravitate towards the green and black unless they just are more interested in the knife. And so it's one of those where like, if that knife were released today with some different finishes, maybe just tweaked a little, and with the kind of pull that we have on social media in the channels that we reach, it'd be incredible. Like it'd be hard to keep it in stock. It's one that I've always liked. I've been at Tops for like just about 10 years, and that knife is one that I've always liked, but I've never seen it just do really well. And I think it's just because the timing was not good, or it just didn't reach the right
there's a lot of
people.
models that we retired
Yeah.
that if we were to bring back now, people would take them like a brand new knife. And there's a lot of models and there's a lot of models that I'll tell Craig, if I just change that and that on that blade, I know I can get it to sell.
Yeah.
And sometimes we'll talk with Craig like, all right, this coming year, let's just revamp old models and not come up with new designs, because we have the tooling, we have the jigs, everything.
Sure.
And let's just change the handles, let's change the steel, let's change the sheath.
Yeah.
And then, just like today I just came up with like 3 other designs just because of just hearing a conversation or hearing something or seeing something. But my notes, I'll tell you my notes. I'm not going to show you, but I'll tell you my notes. Like I just write notes, and I just put a small handle from 3 Bros. I know what that means. Somebody else sees it, wouldn't know what that means. But I have a knife that I want to do with that handle. And then I put narrow version EDC. That's all I wrote. I know what it means, but just little notes that I'll read, and they'll remind me of what I was thinking of.
Right.
But it's hard. I guess sometimes it's hard to stop designing. And
All of this represents a lot of extra work for me. That's why the reaction.
Guys, is that an Armageddon you have on the table there? The one in the middle, is that the Armageddon?
No, we don't have one of those on the table.
we didn't bring one of those.
Okay, it looked like it was in the middle.
I guess the back sort of looks like.
Yeah, the handle's similar.
But these are the 105s. This is a take from our 107C series that started Tops. That's Tops started with. But so when we did the 105s, the old model we have because it's still
we're still selling. Yep.
When we redrew that, it wasn't drawn to what we had in mind, and so we sold it and it kept selling. But I was telling Craig, like, I want to make the real 105 that we wanted to do, and so pretty much it's the 5-inch blade, 5.5. No, it's about 5, right?
It's right at 5. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
5-inch
right
blade.
5. From
the other one, the 7-inch blade. But pretty much I wanted to make what we really wanted to make when we ran the 105s. And so this is going to be released the 30th of May.
The Tanto points will be sometime in June. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so there's four models that will start being released by the end of May and into June.
Into June, yeah. So
Yes.
this one in his hand, that is the shorter version of the first Tops knife ever.
Yep.
So
Right.
the first one was a Steel Eagle 107. This is that 105. So just
Okay.
same exact handle, actually, same exact handle, just 2 inches shorter.
That's just such a perfect looking carry. It really is. There's so
Yeah,
many
no,
uses.
You put this thing in your hand.
Oh
Again,
man,
this is another one that you put in your hand, you want to use it. You
wanna
really
use
do.
it.
When
There's a hole in my office door.
the first prototype I got, I put it through his door. I'm like, man, I just want to hit something. And I turn around and I hit his door. But yeah.
And then he apologized, and I'm like, I didn't buy the door. It's not my door. In the end, it's your door. You know, you do what you want. So
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I was gonna ask you guys who who is your customer? Who are you making knives for? But honestly, you guys are you have so many models that you really do have a knife for everybody. I mean, if you really spend the time, if you can go into their site and just spend the time and go through all their different categories, you guys are really kind of thinking about every possible knife carrier out there.
yeah, we're even coming out with dive knives this year. We got a dive knife that's based more for like a scuba diver. So
Cool.
the blunt tip and the tank tapper and all that stuff. And then we have a separate one that's geared more towards like a spearfisher. So sharp to be able to kill the fish quickly so you can surface and you know, all that kind of stuff. So we
should have brought those up.
Yeah, we should have.
But those are pretty cool. We've never done nothing like that.
Yeah, no dive knives until this year. Then
Don't
we got
forget about
kitchen
your
knives,
Tops comb.
everything.
Don't forget about your Tops comb, which I don't need.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
yep. Yes,
Yeah.
we have the beard comb, of
The
course.
beard comb, yeah. That was something
Slingshots.
that just I'm like, let's make a beard comb. And yeah, make it happen.
Yeah, yep.
At first it was gonna be a friction folder, and then it was just a pain in the butt. So I'm like, no, let's make it into a little fixed blade comb, and they did good.
We sold them
great.
almost immediately.
Yep.
Sold them out.
Guys, thank y'all for being with me. Do me a favor, both of you.
Absolutely.
Give me a couple parting words. Where are we headed? And before you do that, let me say this. You guys are welcome on here anytime, and we'd love to do it again.
We appreciate it.
Great
We
time.
appreciate you guys' time to do it. Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you guys.
But leave us with some parting words.
Wow.
You got any inspiration?
No.
So, like, where are we headed? I think there's a lot of uncertainty in the world, and I don't know if that's because I'm getting older, and that's just what everybody experiences when they're getting older. But I don't know. I in the 10 years that I've worked here, like, I just feel like I'm doing something good with my life. You know, like before I worked here, I worked at call centers and I did, you know, I've done a bunch of other jobs and they all had their pros and cons, but in the end, I didn't necessarily feel like I was doing something good. Working for this company, I feel like I'm doing something good. Like we make tools for military guys to keep them alive. We make tools for people who are going to be camping to save their life in a pinch. You know, we make tools that help people stay alive. And you know, so as long as I'm on that boat, I feel like I'm headed in the right direction. So that's kind of my parting words. Knives are people who really get into knives, people who become knife people, like they just, you know, this is a really rich world. You can get into all sorts of things from art knives to users to custom makers, you know, whatever it is. And it's just, this is one of the main tools that separated us from the rest of the animals on the planet. And, you know, so I don't know. I feel like I'm in a good place for that.
Yeah, no, Craig, like I can't top that. but
Sure you
but
could.
you know, we're here, and there's a lot more to come. Like this is like, yeah, you know, we this never gets old. Every year brings something new, so it brings more ideas, more. It puts, I guess, it gets me thinking more on what people want to use. When there's tough times, you know, we make something for that. You know, we make something for that, and I don't think that's ever going to change. As long as I'm running the boat, we're gonna keep making tools that, you know, people can trust, and people are gonna, you know, I guess I'm never gonna bash on any company. I love other companies. I use a lot of other knives, but you know, Tops is gonna it's still strong, and we're gonna make a lot more and do a lot more.
And we're
too.
growing. Holy shit, we're growing.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get into other fields coming in soon too. This coming year, you know, we're gonna try to get into overlanding. That's, you know, that fits in a little bit of what we do, but overlanding is big and it's getting bigger, and we're gonna get into that field as well. So,
Well,
yeah,
I love it,
Guys, that's why we love Tops. I mean,
Appreciate
exactly
it, guys.
what you gents just basically just said, and that's why everybody in this room, in the chat room, and all around the community, why they love Tops knives, and they love your designs, and just the diversity that you guys are bringing to the market is fantastic. And it's thank you for sharing also some of the knives that you're going to be bringing to the show, which was really cool.
Yeah, this is not even half of what we have, guys.
I'm sure it's got to be a lot more. Yeah.
And I'm going to be showing him off. Craig hates that because it creates more work for him. It really does. If people are sending him messages, you know, but I'll, you know, they're doing the live, and I'll come in with a knife and show it off. And he hates it, but you know, it's fun.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
love it.
Scab, before I close it off, go ahead.
Guys, all I can say is thank you guys for being here. Thank you for what you do. To everybody,
thank you guys for having us on.
Check out Tops Knives. Check out what they're doing. Support them. It's an American-made company. I think it's important.
Absolutely, that'll never change. That's for sure.
I think it's important that we do that, and we support that. Guys, thank y'all. Joseph, take us home, son.
Guys, what more can I say? We love your products. We loved having you on. It was a pleasure to hear you guys speak about the company, the future, and everything that is great about Tops. And yeah, absolutely. I'll second Scab. You guys are always welcome on our show. You have any new things coming in after the show, whatever it is, you're always welcome to come on. And I appreciate you guys taking the time with us.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you guys. Seriously, this is awesome.
Yeah. So
awesome.
guys, I'm going to close off the live, but stay in the room right after I close it off. So to everyone in the chat room, guys, thank you for sticking with us for another Blade Talk. This was definitely a great one. And we're going to try to continue with American knife makers and just showing everybody why American knives are just best knives in the world, man. Bar none. I don't want to hear it.
Yeah.
But
Appreciate it,
we got some great people also. It's not only just the knives, but it's just great people, you know, that are behind the knife making. And that's what you saw in Tops just now. So guys, have a wonderful evening. Thanks for joining us. Until the next Blade Talk with Scab and Joe. We'll see you when we see you guys. Have a good night.